Welcome to the Hub of Innovation, Hammond 2nd District for Mayor's Night Out. We're going to be live on Go Hammond TV any second now. We may actually be live right now. So if you want to watch this when you get home because it was so good, you have that opportunity. Attorney Cantar, already checking out, huh? Hey everybody, by the way, Hammond's Corporate Counsel, this is her last Mayor's Night Out, so she's already transitioning to the audience. She was recently appointed by Governor Holcomb to be a Lake Superior Court judge, so congratulations, Attorney Chris Cantar. She's been Hammond's Corporate Counsel for 15 years. She walked in the day I walked in, and she's done an excellent job, and we're going to miss her very, very much. So you still got to answer questions today, though, so technically. All right, thanks. All right, we always start off with the District Councilman report, so I'd like to recognize and welcome 2nd District Councilman Pete Torres. Give him a warm welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone, and we have quite a few people from 2nd District. I think this is the best crowd I've seen. Okay, we got a lot of projects going on, or there are coming up in the 2nd District. I'm going to start with the Westlake Corridor. I guess that's on the go because I understand they're beginning to acquire properties or at least send letters of intent, and the state approved over $200 million for the project, and the feds are in. So that's an ongoing project. Probably 5 or 6 years away from after they do all whatever they have to do, but that's ongoing. And then second thing we got going, use some of the district's money. This year we had $1,700,000 to use on streets, sidewalks, parks. And last year I had put $500,000, so that carried over, and that's going over to Urban Park. The mayor teamed up with the district to do some improvements, over $1 million. Right now the estimate is about $1,500,000 to do some improvements like a walking path, redo the basketball courts, do hard surface soccer called futsal, a dog park, and other improvements that are going on to that park. So it's going to be an exciting project. Paving, I have some streets, about 9 streets. I've gone by the ones that needed a worse surface, and also people call and say my street needs surfacing. I usually try to accommodate. So we got about 9 of them to go this year, at least on the list. And ornamental lighting, we also got about the same number, or about 10 streets to get ornamental lightings this year. Just waiting on the designs from engineering. I guess the process is on to get that going. Next week, next Tuesday, we're going to get across the street. We're going to get a presentation. I guess Mr. Speck, Jeff Speck, he's supposed to be an expert on downtown design. I guess he's going to gather some ideas on how to put a plan together to design the downtown area. He was here last year and he talked about a lot about infrastructure, how to use the buildings that are existing now without having to demolish them. And so if you can attend that, I'm sure the mayor will announce it a little bit later. Be here for that because I guess he's gathering ideas also from the public. There's going to be a bike path. I'm sure the mayor's going to talk about that's going to go through a new bike path. It's going to go through the 2nd District from Hoffman through Torrance, connecting all the way to Hewitt Street, I believe. Anyway, I haven't gotten a map yet, so I don't have the details on it. Maybe the mayor will touch up on it later. And if there's any questions coming on later on, please feel free to ask. All the department heads are here. And I'm going to excuse myself. I don't mean to be rude, but I got a wake to go through. A friend of the family passed away, or at least the husband of a friend of the family, and I'd like to be there. So I'm going to stay for a short while, then leave. So with that, I turn it back on to the mayor. Okay.
Thanks, Councilman Torres. While we're at it, I'll go ahead and recognize the elected officials in attendance. First off, Hammond City Clerk Robert Golick. Thank you very much, Clerk Golick. Hammond's 1st District Councilman Mark Kalwinski. Thank you very much, Councilman. We already heard from Councilman Torres. So Hammond's 3rd District Councilman Anthony Higgs. Thank you very much, Councilman. Hammond's 4th District Councilman Bill Emerson. Thank you very much, Bill. Hammond Councilwoman at Large Janet Venez. Thank you very much, Councilwoman. I'd like to thank the Hub of Innovation for hosting today's event. It's really nice in here. Thank you very much, Jen. And where is Donna?
Right here, Mayor.
You always hide. Oh, look at you over there.
Department heads?
Department heads. Let's go ahead and introduce the department heads. Look at Carmen. She's ready to go.
You're the first one. Carmen Paniagua with the Housing Authority.
I got it.
Mark Heinz, Parks and Recreation.
Jack Smith, Sewer Maintenance.
Kelly Kearney, Inspections. Jaime Prieto, Code Enforcement.
Kevin Margraf, Fire Department. Dennis Radowski, United Neighborhoods, Inc.
Juan Serrano, Public Works.
Chris Campbell, Information Technology.
Brian Poland, City Planning.
Ron Novak, Environmental Management.
Bob Vale, Building Department.
Kevin Smith, Mayor's Council.
John Doty, Police Department.
Africa Harbor Planning and Development.
Mylon Krasinski, Port Authority.
Dean Button, Engineering.
Matt Mutis, Sanitary District.
Ann Anderson, Economic Development.
Heather Gray, City Controller.
Marty Wilgus, Hammond Sanitary District.
Chris Sakalaris, Hammond Legal Aid Clinic.
Owana Miller, Community Development.
Ed Cruz, Hammond Water.
Sharon Daniels, Personnel and College Bound. Donna Muta, Special Events.
All right, we got a couple more elected officials I'd like to acknowledge. First off, Councilman at Large, Dan Spitali, walking in right now. Couple minutes late, but at least he made it, right? Good to see you, Councilman. And also our State Rep, Hammond State Rep, Carolyn Jackson. Good to see you, Representative. Welcome home. I'd like to thank Dr. Amy McCormick, also from Calumet College. Thank you very much, Doctor. Good to see you. All right, I want to remind you all, this is driven by written questions. So we have Eileen over there. Hi, Eileen. Nice to see you. Eileen's over there. She's have a written questionnaire. So if you have a question, we do the written question, and then we talk about it. So let's say somebody asks about downtown Hammond, economic development. We get onto a discussion about downtown Hammond. You could raise your hand, and we'll come over to you, okay? Remember, it's on TV, so Donna has a microphone. She likes to hold it up to your mouth so it gets on TV. You don't need to grab it. Just talk. Be cool. It's on TV, so don't cuss, anything like that. All right, anyway, nice to see you all. It's been a long day, so don't mind me. I've already had a cup of coffee. Let's go ahead and get started. Donna, how are we doing on questions?
We've got about 6 right now.
All right, good. It's going to be a short night if you guys don't answer more questions or ask more questions. So I know that the staff likes short nights personally, so. All right, let's get going.
First one up is actually the state, Mayor. Could someone please ask the state to patch the holes in the 18 and 1900 blocks of Calumet, please?
Well, it's good that our state rep is here, and she could help us out. But we also have Dean Button, Hammond City Engineer. Hey, Dean, how's it going? Oh, look at that. Everybody's hiding on me. I thought you were over there. I apologize. Yeah, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
We got a complaint, I hear, about potholes.
Sure. So I have been reaching out to the state. I know that there was a problem. They did some limited patching up there last week. but it's not good enough. So I've reached out to the state, the area engineer, and made sure that they are aware of the situation.
And for the record, and full disclosure, Hammond gets complaints about our roads also, so it's not just a state deal. In fact, today I got called from a reporter that's doing a bad story on Boy Scout Road right now. Councilman Mark, I don't know, that's our favorite street right there, but Boy Scout Road apparently has a lot of potholes in it, and there was a reporter from Channel 2 News that said, I'm doing a story on this today. I didn't comment on it. I just took notice of it. So if you see it on the news tonight, we might want to do something about Boy Scout Road also.
Sure.
But that's a sort of a pain in the butt road, because I know if Hammond Police Department had their druthers, they'd probably close it down. It's not really used by a lot of Hammond residents. It's used by a lot of Illinois residents to get to Hammond. Not really used by a lot of Hammond residents. Councilman Mark, I don't know if you want to add anything to this. Councilman Mark's behind the pillar. I can't see him. Hey, Councilman, how's it going? I know this is one of your favorite topics.
You know that road is a mess, it floods, it's a dumping ground, it's not lit well enough, and I'm going to close it.
I mean, you're pretty strong feelings there, Councilman Mark. What's good about the road?
We don't have much use for it.
So you agree, though, it's not a lot of North Hammond residents using that road?
It'll inconvenience a few people out of Hammond, Robertsdale, but by and large, the cost of upgrading that road isn't worth the use by Hammond residents.
Thanks, Councilman. I know Councilman Mark and I have had this discussion a lot, and I know the chief and I have had this discussion a lot also. One of the things about that road is it's a crime getaway. In fact, we had a Brinks truck robbery, and that's the route they took out of our city, right, Chief?
Yeah, they did. I would say that the road serves the businesses that serves the Illinois population there.
Right.
It does not
Gas
serve Hammond
station.
residents.
Right.
The businesses that came here and still flourish today here are here because of the road and Illinois, not because of Hammond residents.
So it's interesting. So we're,
We still have pass-through on Goslin, Brainerd,
True.
Illinois, and on the boulevard.
and that's a state highway. We can't shut that down. Gosselin, you're right. And then, Chicago Street? Yeah, well, Chicago Gosselin, right?
I'm saying that project's going to start.
Right. Why don't you talk in the microphone? Yeah, we're on TV, remember? Hey,
I
Dean.
just wanted to kind of reinforce the fact that while Boy Scout Road is somewhat of a problem for us, we do have Chicago Street,
Right.
which is technically that's not, it's the old 312 that got
Right.
turned over to the city. Goslin between State Line and Sheffield, and then a little bit south on Sheffield to Marble Street. That project lets late this year, so we're going to start working on that project heavily over
Right.
the end of 19 and into 20.
But like,
And so
as an
I think-
engineer though, do you see any great need for Boy Scout Road connecting us between,
As an engineer, no, sir.
I think the first district councilman would agree with you. So when we start getting bad press because Illinois residents are pissed, there's too many potholes on it, I mean, I try not to cry out loud, but.
I know
Okay.
there's some businesses over there
Maybe the
that
businesses
rely
should
on
build
it
the
a
street.
lot, but
Maybe the
as-
businesses should build the street. It's more for them than it is for
True.
anybody else.
So-
Interesting discussion.
So
Boy Scout
when-
Road.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Gary, I mean, what's your big complaint? Gary's the Director of Public Works. Can you stand up and show off your good-looking face, please?
The reason the road's old, it's low to the ground, every time you get a little water, it floods, and then it just starts deteriorating. We kept putting patch in it, we were putting, actually taking our front end loader and dumping it and spreading it around. We put some gravel in, then put more patch, and the rain we had washed it right away again, so. If they're gonna bring us on the news, it's brought the light to the road, so this would be the time to do it if you wanna do it.
Talk to me after this, okay?
Yeah.
Councilman, are you staying for the whole mayor's night? You want to have a quick impromptu meeting after about Boy Scout Road? It's interesting timing. Okay. All right, good. I like that. Anybody else have any questions about Boy Scout Road? Yeah. I won't shut your road down, I promise. Okay, no problem.
South of the bridge on Columbia.
Okay, hold on. Bridge on Columbia, the railroad tracks.
Right there by.
Right. I just got stuck there. Yeah.
Never had that before. They're terrible. They're like, if you don't go in the far right lane going north,
Right.
going north, if you're not in the far right lane, you're gonna lose a tire or.
Yeah.
Or break.
You know, a lot of times we have problems over there. I remember one time it was a collapsed sewer, All right, Jack. Nice, I got it right. We're talking about Columbia heading up north, heading up towards the bridge. We had a real big cave-in there last year because of the old infrastructure, right? Because a lot of times when we have really bad potholes, you call them, we call them cave-ins because our infrastructure is failing and everything just starts caving in. So it looks like a pothole, but,
One of the tracks is actually up higher
well,
than the other one.
that might be a problem that's more than a pothole.
No, that's going to be a railroad issue. We
Yeah.
already televised that line.
Yeah.
We had a couple spots that were bad. We made the repairs.
Okay.
Outside company.
Why don't you
came
guys
in
do me a
and did
favor, Dean, between Dean and you guys, why don't you go out there tomorrow and take a look at it and just see if anything's developing or if there's anything we could do, okay? Sound good?
that.
Thanks.
Yes, Mayor.
Thanks. I love that. Yes, Mayor. It's very military-like. We run a tight ship in City Hall. I don't know if you guys noticed. Hey, by the way, 6th District Councilman Scott Rakos, welcome to the party. Good to see you, sir. All right, we have another question. Hi, sir.
Just one. I was wondering if you use some type of system for rating streets, so when you want to prioritize.
Yes, sir.
I know Pacers
Thank you.
is one. There's several others that are, I think, pretty good.
Yes, sir.
That will allow you to.
I'm going to let the engineer answer your question, but I'm going to tell you, I know he has a grading system, but what happens is the F streets that need the attention, there's like $20 million worth of road repairs we need to do, and we get $2 million to do it, and that's the hard part.
Is there traffic on those roads? I mean, what is the traffic like?
Well, that's the process that Dean's going to have to go through.
Some people avoid those.
And it's further
So
complicated.
the traffic tends to lighten up on
Yes,
the
sir.
worst streets.
And it's further complicated by the fact that the district council person is coordinating a lot of this because we allocate money to each district council person to prioritize these projects. So Dean grades them, the council person has a wish list, and we sort of start matching them up. And then when we run out of money, Dean?
Yep, you're exactly right, Mayor. We do have a system, we do use the Pacer system, both in terms of asphalt and concrete for all of our streets. About 2 years ago, probably 3 years ago, we rolled the system out, and so we have to continually update it. So any new repairs that we've done, we include that in our system. And then we recently hired a consultant to actually create a proper database for us. So it's going to make it really easier to make those reports that the mayor's talking about in terms of millions and millions of asset dollars that we need to support our streets. And so we can give you those in blocks based upon their rating, how much that's going to cost in each district and how that's all going to flow. So yeah, we're all over that.
Did you include Purdue in that? I know Purdue has their road school, but they also have other technicians in there that actually are very, very good at it.
So we work with what's called LTAP. It's a local technical advisory, down at Purdue. Myself and my colleague Mark Gordish both attend road school in March. I got to give a presentation last year about our license plate recognition camera. So we work closely with Purdue on pavement design, pavement analysis, ratings, retroreflectivity, measurements of our street signs. Yeah, so we're working closely with them.
Good. Thanks, guys. We're going to start putting the audience to sleep because you keep talking about all this engineering stuff. So. Just kidding. All right, any other questions? We started off with, I don't even remember the topic, but now we're talking about road funding. Boy Scout Road, that's right. See how it morphed into it? But that was good, worked out. So let's move on to the next question. Donna?
Okay, Mayor. At the drainage ditch that was placed in front of Cintas behind Menards, can the fencing be slatted to hide that ugly mess?
Okay, ugly mess. First off, let's talk about the project. Ann, where are you? Ann or Africa? Ann, do you want to talk about that project? Thank you. This is Ann Anderson. She's head of economic development.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Hello. So Menards is expanding their facility.
Again, they've done it a few times since I've been mayor.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's great. So in order to do that, they needed to move their retention pond area over. They bought that parcel from the city and created a retention pond. I do not believe the design of it is done quite yet. It is a bit of a mess, but everything kind of is right now in the
Right.
spring. They are using our facade rebate program to put up ornamental wrought iron fencing around, so
Cool.
that will look nice.
All right.
Mayor?
Yes, sir. Yeah, hi, Brian.
Hi.
Brian's the planning director for our city.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. As Ann said, it is going to be an ornamental fence. They also are going to put some landscaping between,
Nice.
in front of the fence.
That's your specialty, really, right? I mean, that's one of your big jobs. When we're doing jobs like this and they need our permission, a lot of times you come in and require landscaping and
Yes.
the nice stuff.
I don't know about specialty, but yeah.
It's one of your specialties. You have a lot of specialties. Interesting fact about Brian Poland. He's the census guy, right, Brian?
Yes, that's one
He's
of my
Hammond
many
census
hats.
guy. So he's been doing it, I'm going to say, 80s also? Did you do the 90s census?
The
You did.
1990 was my first census.
In the 2000, 2010, and he's on pretty good pace for 2020 right now also. You know, never know in City Hall, but just kidding, Brian. All right. All right, let's move on.
Next up, Mayor, why is it so complicated to obtain a handicap sign in front of my house when 95% of the disability is proven with the state of Indiana?
All right, good question. I'm going to pass off to Heather Gray in a second, because we can talk about it from the Board of Works perspective. But I can tell you that, you know, we have to have a process when it comes to issues like this, because a lot of people would put in for it. And a lot of people that don't have the proper credentials would put in for it, and we'd constantly be dealing with this issue, and there'd be no street side parking. So we do have a process to go through. Heather, could you, I know in Board of Works, you're the president this year, I imagine you see a lot of.
We do handle all of the sign requests, but I believe the disability placard plate goes through is it the police department, Chris? Street department,
Gary.
so I can't help you.
Look at you. Hey, Gary, want to talk about this? He thinks because he sits in the audience, we won't call on him, which is wrong. Shouldn't have hit 18th Street before tonight's.
No, it's coffee. Regarding the handicap signs, there is an ordinance that we go through. If you have a driveway, you can't have it. If you don't have a car, you can't have it. Those are the only two things. All you have to do, go to the License Bureau, get the placard, and then we have a couple things. We want a doctor's note on his letterhead, the registration to the car, and your driver's license.
How long does the process take? Like, I know people have written me before, and I would forward it to you, and you start the process on your own, right?
As soon as they bring the stuff to us, we're good. We send it to Board of Works.
So what happens when somebody sends me a note and says, Mayor, I need this, or my mom needs this, can you help me out? And I get my Sharpie out and I say, hey, Gary, can you help me out?
We get hold of them and give them the information.
And then they have to supply you with the proper
Right.
documentation.
And as soon as they bring all that in, we make copies and make a copy for Board of Works, and then we go ahead and install it. It's really easy. It's just a little footwork on their side.
Okay. So do you get a lot of these types of requests?
Yes.
And you have certain rules that you said, if you have a driveway, you're not going to grant it. It's because we don't want to take up all the street side parking.
Right, you know. And we did do a couple exceptions, and the reason why, it was a duplex. And it had a driveway. Well, the driveway was for the people in the back, and the person in the front parked on the street. So we had a letter that was given to us from that owner. Other than that, we pretty much try to stick by the rule.
Okay. Did we answer anybody's question? Anybody have any follow-up on that? Hi, sir.
Sorry, that's
No problem.
actually my question. and-
Okay.
And the way he phrased it is not exactly true.
Okay.
You know, I'm obviously disabled. I went to the state of Indiana, I got the plate, and I had to prove to the state of Indiana that I was disabled by providing a doctor's note and filling out a 2-page question and having the doctor sign that form.
Okay.
So I already proved to the state of Indiana I'm disabled.
Okay.
So the part that I have an issue with, my driver's license says my current address. The letter that they asked me to get from my doctor had my current address on the doctor's letterhead, signed by the doctor. My registration, the address that I moved, that I lived in prior to the one that I live now, had a handicap sign. So I had no need to ask for one. When I moved to Hammond, and I've been a Hammond resident for 44 years, off and on. When I moved back to Hammond, I wanted to get the sign in front of my house. So when I called up, it was like 3 days later.
Could you do me a favor, sir? Can we follow this up tomorrow? Maybe you could contact Sharon in my office.
Sure.
I have no problem, and I'll be your quarterback, okay? And if we could do it, I'll do it, and if we can't for some reason, I'll be honest with you on why we can't, okay? But could you, Eileen, could you give him our contact number and give him Sharon's name? Okay, Eileen will give you the information. You call it tomorrow, we'll take care of this. You just get us your facts, and then we'll get together and we'll figure out why it's holding up, okay?
Yes, sir.
I don't want you to divulge a lot of medical information on Go Hammond TV, and I think I can help you out with this, so let's check it out. And if there's some problem, I'll tell you what the problem is, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. But we do have to have a process in place because we have 81,000 people that live in our city, 30,000 houses. So we have a process. So, and it's sometimes frustrating, sometimes it gets bogged down, and call my office, that's my job. I'm a trouble solver, troubleshooter. Yeah, never mind. All right. Hey, Donna?
Right here, Mayor.
Gosh dang. All right.
This resident would like to tell you that the best company in the area, Unilever, also Lever Brothers. He grew up in Hammond, and he's a 1960 graduate of Hammond Tech. After graduation, the company hired him, and many other tech graduates. They provided a great living for many locals. Let's get more hiring for Hammond residents like Unilever.
Good. That's a really good question. That's a really good statement. It's a really great company. And when we have leverage, when we negotiate with private companies like this, if they're asking us for something, let's say they need some type of zoning change or they need our help somehow, what we do a lot of times is say, hey, you help us, we help you, right? We could do this for you, but have you thought about having a quota of if you have 20 new employees, maybe making 5 of them Hammond residents? We do stuff like that, but we don't do it if it's a private company and they want to just hire people. We can't force them to hire Hammond residents just because their address is Hammond, Indiana. That's the difference. So a lot of times we do projects like this. Africa, do you have any examples off the top of your head you could think of? Or?
Well, one of the best.
By the way, this is Africa Tarver. She's our RDA appointee, which is a big deal, and she's also the head of planning and development. So.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the things we've done in the past for companies like Lear, when they're expanding, what we'll do is a career fair, which is similar to a job fair, but it's specific to their company, and we'll have it at either the Civic Center or we'll have it at the Gene Shepherd Center. So we try to give the greatest opportunity for Hammond residents to be employed within the company, but as Mayor stated, personnel issues are personal issues specific to a company, so we can't say you have to hire this person. We can say you have to make a reasonable effort and be able to document to us that you've made a reasonable effort to hire Hammond residents.
Thank you. Great job. Off the top of your head, too. It was impressive. All right. Any other questions on that? But I agree. Unilever is an outstanding company. This is their North American headquarters. It's Hammond, Indiana. They're a wonderful company. We're super happy to have them. They're clean, too. It's not too often. I mean, sometimes Wolf Lake bubbles because it's got extra soap in there. I've never heard anybody complain about having soap in the water. So, yes, sir. I imagine that's your question, statement?
Yes.
Congratulations on a great career.
Submitted that.
Thank you.
I just want to tell you, I grew up in Hammond. That company looked out for tech graduates. I believe, I don't know for sure, but because we had mechanical abilities. I graduated with an aircraft mechanics license, but it had nothing to do with that, but they realized I had mechanical abilities. I worked there 37 years, enjoyed all the benefits. Right now, I've been retired for 26 years.
Good for you. Congratulations.
And I enjoy all the benefits that they provided. When I retired, I was making $20 an hour, you know. That's over 20 years ago,
Good for you.
which, you know, there's not a lot of companies like that. I have no affiliation whatsoever with the company, you know.
They might hire you back. You keep on doing all this positive PR. You should be like their spokesperson.
Well, no, I just appreciate them, and
That's nice of you.
I tell everybody what a great company it was.
That's really cool.
And that I'd like to see, you know, I realize that you can't say Hammond people only, but I know they went out of their way. All of my friends, a lot of people that I graduated with came right in, same with us and previous too. So
Thanks.
we enjoyed a great life.
Really cool.
Because of that
Really
company.
cool.
I wanted to let you
That
know.
makes me feel good to hear that. It's good for me to hear that because a lot of times we do deal with these companies, and this will be in the back of my head next time I'm talking to them.
They've got a lot of ground there. They've got a big building
Yes, sir.
they're not using. From 1,600 employees when I started there to 100 or something like that now.
Wow.
And I'd like to see a
Yeah.
little oomph there. You
Yeah.
know, maybe it.
Automation probably took most of them, right?
Because I know they built another facility in Chicago. So
Yeah.
Chicago? No.
I agree.
We want Hammond.
Yes, sir. I love it. Thank you very much. That was a really good question. All right. Hey, before I'm going to do a little commercial here, before we take our next question, I want to talk about an initiative that involves downtown Hammond that was spoken about by the councilperson a little earlier. I want Ann Anderson to go ahead and talk a little bit about the Jeff Speck presentation that's coming up next week and about what we're talking about when it comes to downtown Hammond.
Excellent, thank you, Mayor. So in economic development, we deal with businesses in Hammond, helping them expand in Hammond, relocate in Hammond, helping companies move to Hammond. And we're doing really great on our borders. Up north in the Marina District development, we're doing great on the southern border at the Oxbow Landing. But in the core of Hammond, especially the downtown area, we have struggled to find businesses, retain them, keep them here. Many downtowns across the country have struggled, and Mayor gave us the initiative last year to really start thinking outside the box and thinking big about our downtown. Through a recommendation of the former mayor of Grand Rapids, we heard about Jeff Speck. Jeff Speck is a urban planner, a designer, author, and a lecturer. He has worked in struggling downtowns all over the world. I went to see him in Boston last year at a workshop, and it was amazing. It was eye-opening. I came back to Hammond. I told the team about him, and Mayor, we brought Jeff here in the fall to give a lecture on our city in Hammond. He loved our downtown. He feels it has great bones, a lot of potential, and especially with the upcoming South Shore Westlake train project, there is amazing potential for our downtown. So Jeff and his team are brought in by the city. They are coming next week to start their master plan of our downtown. I have some flyers here and at the table over by the entrance on a public presentation we're having at HAST, Hammond Academy of Science Technology, right across the street in Munich Court. It is Tuesday, May 28th at 6 p.m. Jeff Speck and his associates will be talking about their upcoming plans in Hammond, and we're having a Q&A session afterwards. They're going to have very large maps of downtown Hammond up on easels. He's going to invite the public to come up and talk about what they envision in the downtown. This project is going to go through the rest of the year. We are very excited, so I just want to let you know about it. Thank you.
Awesome. What's the date again?
I'm sorry?
What's the date again?
May 28th, 6 p.m. at HAST in their gymnasium.
Thank you very much, Ann. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. How we doing on questions, Donna?
Mayor, Councilman Mark pointed out that American Stair is taking applications for oppositions
that's nice.
at the Calumet Avenue location. We think it's 35 or 3600 Calumet area.
It's right around there, yeah. American Stair, good company. That was a real good project for our city when we brought that in. We brought them in from Illinois about 3 years ago, right? What, $6 million investment, if I remember, something like that, or is it more? Yeah. Right. So, real good company. So that's good to hear. Thanks, Councilman. Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead. Next question.
Project Ice Cube seems to be coming along well.
Yes, it
I
is.
think it would be a good addition to the city of Hammond. Hockey is an expensive sport to play relatively compared to soccer and baseball. Will there be any programs to help disadvantaged youth play hockey at the Ice Cube?
Okay, I want to get ready. But yes, Project Ice Cube, a lot of people don't know what we're talking about, especially one thing that's funny about Hammond residents is a lot of Hammond residents don't get out of their nook. They stay in the Robertsdales or the North Hammonds or the Hessvilles. This is going on in Hessville, so unless you're down in the south part of the city, you may not see what's going on in Dowling Park. But it's a massive ice rink they're building there. On one side, they're going to have a massive sheet of ice indoor, and on the other side, they're going to have like a, what do they call it? The jump zone, yeah. What's that one called in Cherville? Sky Zone. I have kids, I should know this. Sky Zone type of development on the other side, and it's going to be great. It's a private development though, so this isn't a city park. It's adjacent to Dowling Park, but it's not a city project. We helped with the project. We want it to be hugely successful. I know the high schools are excited about it because I know Bishop Knoll, for instance, has a great hockey team. I know Munster has a great hockey team. Purdue Northwest has hired a hockey coach. They're going to put a hockey team out of Purdue Northwest in this facility, so real cool development going on in Hessville right now. We're real excited about that. So, you have anything you want to add to that, Ann or Africa? And then I could go to Awana about the Awana. I know we have. I forgot what the name of the program is with the athletic program.
It's our youth
The voucher, sports voucher. Yeah, that's what it is.
Can you hear me?
Do re mi fa sol
It's our
la ti.
youth-
All right. Hi.
It's our youth sports program. That program is geared towards individual families that income qualify. If you're a family of about 4, and you make less than $54,000, your family qualifies for this program. Your child will be able to participate in up to 5 different sports. So if they want to participate in the hockey or baseball, football, basketball, anything going on within our community, we'll definitely be able to pay for that for them.
Okay. Kevin?
Mayor, thank you. I know that in discussions with the redevelopment department and when we reached the development agreement with the gentlemen who are the owners of the Ice Cube project, they indicated that, first of all, I think 2 of the 3 of them are from Hammond, and they're also very involved in Bishop Mill hockey. And one of their primary goals of this facility was to bring youth hockey to Hammond. And they were all very interested in making sure that kids who wanted to skate would be able to skate, that there'd be open skates for residents. So I think the question that was asked, they're going to find a lot of open ears by the owners, and I think you'll see the owners to be very active in the community to try to make this a facility that's available and within reach of Hammond residents.
You know, one of the interesting things we're talking about in Hessville also is something we all saw when visiting Milwaukee was Milwaukee has clear sound walls. So you drive by and you still have the sound wall, but you can see through the sound wall. And we're thinking, dang, you know, Dowling Park, we put so much money into it. We got this huge hockey rink going in, an ice rink going in, beautiful fields, Gene Shepherd Center, but it's behind a wall and you can't see it. So we're actually researching the possibility of getting sound walls that you could see through and finding out the feasibility of it. It would be all on our cost, but it might be worth it, you know. One of the interesting things about the development on the other side of 8094, the Oxbow development, when we took the sound walls down, that thing blew up economic development-wise. You don't realize how close it is to the highway and how visible it is until those walls come down. So we're really serious about this project. It's something that Chief of Staff's been looking closely at. So, and Dean, yeah. Dean, do you have anything you want to add to that? Clear sound walls?
So we're working with a company that is trying to get INDOT pre-qualified to use the sound walls in Indiana along their facilities, and we're looking at a few different options on what it would take to get either windows or full height panels in there, Mayor.
But taking down the sound walls on the south side of 8094 was easy because there's no residences there. However, on the north side, if we took down the sound wall, we don't want to keep everybody up every night. So we still have to have the sound wall, but is there a way you can see through it? That's what we're dealing with right now. So, all right, great. I want to do a quick commercial break again, give you guys a chance to ask a couple more questions. I want to talk a little bit about the South Shore expansion because it's going to be a big effect on North Hammond, through downtown Hammond, all the way down to Dyer. In fact, today, NICD is holding a session in Dyer, and tomorrow they're holding a session in Hammond in regards to eminent domain and the process that hundreds of people are going to have to go through if this expansion continues forward. And by all indications, this expansion is going forward. I don't think it's been ultimately green lighted yet, and I'm going to refer to my RDA appointee on this. I don't think we've gotten the ultimate green flag. The race is on, but everybody's acting like this project's full steam ahead.
It's definitely moving forward very favorably. There are some other issues that have to be worked out, but it is moving forward very quickly.
Like they're talking about eminent domain in Dyer today, and they're talking about eminent domain in Hammond tomorrow.
Correct.
Keep in mind, this is not the City of Hammond's project. We're riding on the train just like you are. We do support it. If it goes forward, Hammond does have responsibility towards this project, but to the tune of, gosh, I always forget this.
$816 million.
How much? No, how much for Hammond's portion? No, Hammond's. Thank you, Heather. You guys are trying to spend too much money here. You notice how the controller is quick to correct that? She's like, hey now, $450,000 for 30 years, right? So that's $4.5 million every 10 years. So that's $14 million over 30 years, which is a lot of money. But the investment that Hammond gets is massive. A couple $100 million, $250 million. And a lot of it's going to be right behind us. A lot of it's going to be in North Hammond. The Gateway Station, we dreamed about this in 2008. I walked the tracks in 2008, and then the whole thing fell apart. When it resurrected itself again, we were strong right out the bat. We want this Gateway Station, and it made total sense. It's going to be awesome, but it's going to require eminent domain, which stinks. That's hard, but progress is hard. But what we're talking about is a massive station that houses both lines, which means you could transfer from one line to the next in there. You could shuttle back and forth. They're going to have a lot of shuttles just back and forth down to Dyer and back. If that interests some people that need to go north and south, frequent, multiple times an hour, back and forth. It doesn't cost them anything. It's like a Disneyland shuttle kind of thing. So, Kev?
Mayor, Mayor's being a little bit modest on this. This is really important to be said here, and that is that the mayor was steadfast in his in requiring that this gateway station be in Hammond. There was a plan that was set forth before that was all Illinois union labor, that it was all going to be built on the Illinois side, and the mayor basically said, it's not happening under my watch. And the fact that the city has the maintenance facility, which is going to be over by the OK Champion former site, the fact that the city has the gateway station, a potential station close to here, and also potentially in the south part of the city, is all because the mayor stood very firm with NICD, and basically they ended up coming back to the table to him and said, Mayor, we want to do this because this is what you want.
And the Hammond Council had my back 100%, which is awesome. We were strong. They needed us in our $15 million. They needed to show that there was local commitment. If the biggest city isn't on board, we could have torpedoed this thing. So we stayed strong. And we said, absolutely, not going forward. They had 2 lines leaving Hammond, which means, so let's say, for instance, you jump on a train in the 4th District down there on Lyman and 173rd, and you want to go to the Gary Airport. This is how we shamed them. We just put $100 million into the Gary Airport. So if I want to take a train from Hammond to the Gary Airport, what's my route? And then they'd get really red in the face. And we said, what's the route? Well, Mayor, you'd have to get on the train, and you have to go to Chicago, and then you'd have to get off the train in Chicago, and then go all the way back to the Gary Airport. So basically, we were spending hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're not even connecting 2 of the projects together. We just crucified them with that. And the fact that we stayed strong, and the fact that the council had my back, and the fact that we got beat up by the press for a year, because the press, when I say the press, I'm talking about the Times, let's be honest. The Times was pushing this like it was the save all for everybody, and hopefully it is. But when we were standing in the way, they were beating us up. And the council, if the council made my life difficult, it would have been a lot harder. So I want to thank the council, because together, for $15 million over 30 years, you'll see a couple $100 million in investment within the next few years. That's a fact. So.
Mayor, to add to that point, with,
Yeah?
you and the council, our ordinance is unique amongst the other communities
Yeah.
who are asked to contribute to this project. When I said 450, we can't let Phil think he's completely right on that one. It's actually tied to 15% of our annual seeded revenues, which is about $450,000 this year.
Oh, so it
can
moves up.
fluctuate, but it also, all the other communities have had to put in that money already. And
They've been
we made
paying.
contingencies within our ordinance that required the federal funding to happen before we would hand over any of our dollars. So for the last, I think, 2 years, we've been able to use that money for projects within the city.
That's 2 years, that's $1 million we saved. Just by we started being a pain in the butt, but that's fine. And by the way, they were arguing about where the maintenance facility was gonna go. They have a maintenance facility in Michigan City, and they got hundreds of employees there, and they like fix things, and they hire people with high jobs, and they're like, man, where are we gonna put this maintenance facility? We said, we'll take it. I mean, OK Champion's right off the line. OK Champion has been struggling ever since OK Champion shut down. It's like, why don't you take OK Champion by eminent domain and put your train facility there? And they were like, wow, A, you're helping us, and B, they never thought of that before. We get a lot. So we're getting, for sure, if this project goes forward, we're for sure getting the maintenance facility. It's going to be right at OK Champion. A little north of that's going to be the Gateway Station. We're going to shut down the current Hammond Station, and it's going to be one Gateway Station with both lines, east, west, north, south. Okay, going further south through downtown Hammond. I'm going to have to put you on hold on this because we agreed upon that. And we're going to go down to the new station that Purdue Northwest wanted. It's going to be down there in the 4th District. I don't think it's super important, but hey, you know, it was a deal we all made. There's going to be a station down there, and then if anybody wants to go to Munster, you'll be able to go to Munster, basically Ridge Road, right? Where it'll be in Munster, and then the next stop down the line, it'll be the last stop, will be in Dyer, Munster-Dyer border, right on Main Street. Okay? But now, downtown Hammond needs a station. We all know it. So we approached NICD about a year ago and said, hey, I want to put a station right over here. So we'll have 3 stations in Hammond. We'll pay for this one. I don't want to screw things up in Washington, D.C. We said, hey, we'll cover this one. So there'll be a Gateway station, a downtown Hammond station, and then there'll be the one in the 4th District like you all wanted, right? And then, of course, outside of Hammond, who cares? So I'm the mayor of Hammond. I don't need to remind you guys, right? So if we insisted on this downtown Hammond station, we could have screwed things up big time. So we agreed we wouldn't put a shovel in the ground for the downtown Hammond station until the first train ran on the extension. If we didn't make that agreement, it could have messed us up in DC, and we're talking years. It could have delayed us 2 more years, and we'd still be in this limbo that we're in right now. So we agreed, we're gonna start designing it, we're gonna make preparations for it. There's gonna be a station right over there. If this happens, it's gonna be the downtown Hammond station, but we can't start it until the line's completed. And Hammond's gonna have to bear the cost on that. We know the rules going forward. We know exactly where we wanna put it. We know it's fitting in with Jeff's spec and the whole design plan that we're talking about in downtown Hammond. So that's it. Now, we're just waiting for the green flag from Washington, DC. We keep getting like positive encouragement. Representative Jackson helped us out a lot this year. The state of Indiana helped us out. I don't say that very often. We were $200 million short on this project. This is a super expensive project. I'm not going to argue with you the merits of whether or not the region should be doing this. That decision is being made by our congressman, okay, and the newspaper, all right? So, but even their high projections were $200 million short because Washington, D.C. doesn't want to cover everything they were going to cover. Who's going to pay that $200 million? Is Congressman Pete going to go back to the cities and ask us for the money? Because the answer would have been no on that. The state of Indiana stepped up, which is not common, and they gave us an extra $200 million. And I know Representative Jackson helped us out a lot, so I wanted to say thank you very much. Good job. Bye, Councilman. All right. So anyway, anybody got any questions on the South Shore expansion? That's pretty much the lowdown as far as we know it. Anybody else know anything? Brian? That's one of his specialties also, South Shore expansion. TDD.
TDD.
Yep.
Yes.
Isn't that a rap group? No. That is not his specialty. All right. You got anything else that we're missing?
Well, yeah, I think, it's a word that I don't often use. It's my word of the day, transformative.
Wow.
I think that the opportunity that we have with especially the Gateway Station, it will really change this community dramatically, and I think ultimately for the best. Anytime you have the stations, one of the planning catchphrases is TOD, transit-oriented development, and trying to build new higher density development with commercial, retail, office, a variety of things that would help put residents near the stations, allow them to perhaps travel in Chicago on a regular basis. The RDA actually, with the state's legislation, calls it TDD, and that would be a funding mechanism that can be established once that gets all in place. And so I'm looking forward to how this is going to proceed.
Great. Thanks, Brian. Anybody have any other questions about this?
Mayor, just one. You said, is that meeting public that you said?
The one that's happening today in Dyer and the one that's happening tomorrow, yes. We're not running it, so I don't know.
Do you know where and what time?
I think tomorrow's in the Shepherd Center. Am I wrong? I am right on that. I look over at the Parks guy, he's like, I think it is, right? Shepherd Center tomorrow, right? All day. Pretty much. And people that are in the target area have been notified. What is the target area? Little property owners up and down over here are in the target area. Think about where the line's going to go. It's going to go on the Monon. It's going to fly over on the east side of the Holman Avenue Bridge, and then it's going to elevate and go into North Hammond over towards OK Champion. Okay, so OK Champion was notified, and then it's going to go north from there, right through that neighborhood. That neighborhood, Brunswick and area, like the whole neighborhood. Like the entire neighborhood. If you're in that neighborhood, you know about this, I imagine. I mean, that's the hard part. Progress is hard. I agree with Brian. I think it's transformative. I think we're never going to get a better return on our money. We're putting in, let's call it 20 million over 30 years, and we're going to get back hundreds of millions. That's a fact. Hammond's the humongous winner of the South Shore expansion. So if this happens, we're the huge winner. And this is it for us. They're never, ever going to talk to us again about this. This is the only bite at the apple we get. So let's make it a big, humongous bite. Because the next time they expand it, they're not going to talk to Hammond. They're going to be expanding from Dyer to Valpo or Dyer to Maryville. Or they're going to be expanding down to the Gary Airport. Hammond's going to have nothing to do with it anymore. This is our last chance. So we made it a good bite. What's that, Kev? Tomorrow, 1 to 7, Gene Shepherd Center. It's being run by Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District, and they're talking about the process to go through if you're in the eminent domain area. If you did not get a letter, you're not in the eminent domain area, okay? But anyway, that's pretty much everything I know on the South Shore expansion. It's a big deal. It's happening. If we get the green light, Hammond finally has to start paying, right? We haven't paid $1 yet, Heather? Not a single dollar, which is great. Like she said, other communities are millions of dollars already into this, and we start, so. All right, questions? All right, let's move on.
Next up, Mayor, a big, huge, giant public thank you to you, Dave Westland, and Kevin Smith for taking care of the problem at 2030 Stanton.
Yay. I started a hashtag, the first hashtag I ever started in my life. 2030 Stanton hashtag. If your address is a hashtag, something's wrong at your house. Right? That is a good thumb rule to go by. But I've learned a lot about Airbnb. I've never used the service myself. And I remember when this bill was going through the General Assembly, Representative Jackson wasn't there yet. And when it was going through, I wasn't paying attention to it because I'm thinking Airbnb, I mean, I love Hammond. I love living in Hammond. I don't think this is a really big tourist destination outside of when the fest is going on. So I'm like, Airbnb. They're talking about places like Carmel or Indianapolis during Indy 500. And then we start getting these complaints about an Airbnb that's borderline boarding house right in the middle of a nice neighborhood. And we're like, what? And learned a lot about Airbnbs. And basically, Hammond's taking an aggressive stance. And if we don't take an aggressive stance, your next door neighbor may turn into a humongous hotel. There's no rules. And we took a hard stance. And one of state reps, one of Representative Jackson's colleagues on the other side of the aisle, took exception with me yesterday, and I took exception back with him because he was there when they voted for it, and he did vote for it, and they basically they dropped the ball and left it to us to figure it out. The way they made it, your next door neighbor could open a hotel, and they could put 50 people in there, and you're like, no parking spaces for you, their garbage is overflowing, people out drinking and talking all night long on a work night. They're not at work, they're at Airbnb. This is a major problem, and we did the right thing, and the owner of 2030 Stanton totally capitulated to us, and we fined him $7,500 on top of the total capitulation, and he's selling his house. I don't think he wants to be here anymore, I'll be honest with you. But, yeah, there's a lot of good buzz about that. But so anyway, the Airbnb issues, I have a feeling this isn't the last we're going to see of it. We're going to be just as aggressive. If it's next door to any of your house or next door to my house, we will be very aggressive because we'll start to see this city slip if we start letting that kind of stuff happen, and that's not happening. So, all right, any questions on Airbnb? All right. By the way, there's this show called Adam Ruins Everything. He had a whole section on Airbnbs. They're dangerous too. They don't have any safety inspections in Airbnbs. They don't have any like fire inspections in Airbnbs. There's no regulation like there is at a local hotel. You're way better off staying at a hotel than you are staying in somebody's house. They could have cameras in there for all you know. We would never know. Chief, do you have any problems with Airbnb issue in the PD?
Well, we had the one on Calumet Avenue that was being rented out by gang members and making underground porn, so that was a problem for us.
That was on Airbnb?
Yeah.
Dang.
It was that was 1500 Calumet. We were all over that. Gang unit took care of that.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't even know about that. Fire chief here? No. Smitty's not here, huh?
Cubs game.
Cubs game. Yeah, I hope he's watching right now. So anyway, anybody have any questions on this? All right. I know Councilman Marco wanted to recognize and thank also. He was strong on this, helping us along. Good job, Councilman.
At the hearing, when our attorneys, Kevin Smith and David Westland, presented the case, they were awesome. They were really prepared. They steered it the way they wanted to. They got the outcomes that they were looking for. And then after the fact, he didn't want to come, the owner of the B&B didn't want to come back and kind of folded up his tent and is leaving town by the end of the year, we hope.
He will be missed.
Yeah. So thank you to all of you.
All right, thank you. I got a report back after the first hearing. A couple of the residents called my radio show and they said, Mayor, I knew we were in good hands. When your lawyers walked in, they had a huge stack of papers, and when Mr. Duckworth walked in, he had like one piece of paper. It's like we looked good right off the bat. So.
And his lawyer mentioned he had not met him yet. That's never a good sign.
Never a good sign. All right, let's move on to the next question. Oh, hi, Ms. Jackson. Hi, Representative.
Just wanted to say, yesterday I had the opportunity to talk to
some of those individuals who were being affected by that Airbnb. And I will be filing a bill next year.
Thank you.
To get rid of it. Thank you.
The funny thing is, I love Carolyn representing us because she's going to piss off the apartment association, I imagine, and they already hate us, so you fit right in with us. We got in a big kerfuffle with the apartment association a few years ago, and they got the supermajority to overrule us, and it cost Hammond $800,000 a year? $800,000 a year. So, welcome to the party, Representative. It was Van Etter, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, that was on TV. All right, let's go. Next question.
What do you think about the Hammond Boys and Girls Club, and what would you do to improve the program?
I like it. What would I do to improve it? I mean, this is where, of course I like it. Everybody loves the Boys and Girls Club. I go there when I'm invited. I remember some years back I bought a bunch of video games for the young men and women there, tables, tabletop tennis, stuff like that. Haven't done it recently, but doesn't mean I don't love them. It just means we got a lot of needs, and it's hard to, there's not enough money to cover all the needs we have. And I get questions about schools a lot, too. Of course I love kids. I was just in a classroom this morning. But, and then they're like, well, our playground sucks, Mayor. Why don't you build us a new playground? It's like, oh, take it easy, sir. That must be your question. Bye. All right. Anybody else have any questions on this? Oh. I've been mayor 15 years, and I learned over the 15 years that not everybody supports me. So you got to get 51%. I usually do better than that. So, yes, sir. Hi, Paul. Who works at the Boys and Girls Club?
The mayor says he haven't been over to the Boys and Girls Club lately. That's because every time he comes, we get on that ping pong table. And you know what happened.
I do know what happens, yeah. I lose every time. But I haven't been there probably in a year or so. But I tell you, I don't think you're going to find too many mayors that are in more classrooms or go to the places I'm invited. I get invited everywhere. And if it has to do with kids, there's a high likelihood I'll accept it. A high likelihood. This morning, I was at Hess Elementary School doing their TV morning welcome. They have like a TV newscast every morning. It's so cool. And the kids run it themselves. They do everything. They do the cameras, they do the script. And I was on this morning with them. And then I go talk to a whole bunch of kids afterwards. But that's part of my job. But I'm sorry that gentleman didn't like my answer. But I do get questions like this a lot. For instance, I have a critic that calls my radio show a lot. And he says, Mayor, there's lead in the school drinking water. I said, okay, which school? Well, this school. I said, okay. First off, the water that we gave them had no lead in it. In fact, I just got my water report yesterday. Ed, could you grab a microphone? Hammond water is very, very clean source of water. Is that safe to say?
That's correct. That is correct.
You just sent out a report to all the water rate customers over the last month or so, right?
That's correct. That's
shows you the test result that's certified by the state.
Exactly, statutory requirement.
But that doesn't mean that there's not a building in Hammond where if you turn on the faucet that it has a high lead concentration in. There's a number of buildings. My house has lead lines, right, Ed?
Correct.
Does your house, yours old house?
Correct.
So does that mean you go into your house and replace all the lines? And if you do, who pays for it? Do you pay for it or are we responsible?
Homeowner would have to pay for it.
Okay, so first off, let's talk about lead lines with your water since we're talking about it. There's a little film. What's that film called? Random stuff you learn as mayor. There's like a little film between the water and the lead pipe, right?
Correct.
And now, if we keep using the same source of water, which is water from Lake Michigan, it's very non-corrosive. So as long as you're using that source of water, that little coat that's inside of your lead line protects all of us from getting lead poisoning,
That's
okay?
Zinc
Right?
orthophosphate. That's
Zinc
correct.
orthophosphate. I knew that at one time. That's what I'm talking about, okay? So as long as the zinc orthophosphate layer, it's like a millimeter, is there, we're totally fine, all right? However, what happened in Flint, Michigan? Well, Flint, Michigan used to have lake water, but the governor of the state made a decision that that's too expensive. Let's save a couple bucks. Instead of using lake water for Flint, we're going to go to river water for Flint, which is a big deal, right, Ed?
Very big deal.
Can you imagine if we drew our water from Little Calumet? That's a big deal. So when you go to river water, guess what happens to that little millimeter corrosive layer that protects us all? It's corrosive water goes in there, eats away at that layer, and then it starts leaching lead into the drinking water. We don't have to worry about that because we have beautiful lake water, okay? So I guess what I'm trying to say, going back to the question about the Boys and Girls Club, there's a lot of need in the city. And quite frankly, making sure our police and firemen are paid, making sure we balance our budget and have enough money left over to do improvements to our parks, improvements to our roads, it's hard. We don't have enough money as it is. If I start doing projects like my critic would say, I think you need to fix Hammond High School's lead pipes. That's got to be $10 million. And I'm supposed to pay for the $10 million, and I'm shortchanging everybody else on our side of the fence? That's where, so when the gentleman says, what are you going to do about the Boys and Girls Club? I support it. I go when I'm invited. I talk to the kids, take pictures with them. I love it. I'll talk about it positively. I go to their fundraisers. But I can't pay for everything in there. That's not my job. I mean, that's why you hire me. If I start doing stuff like that, I'm neglecting my basic duties, which is paying for those two over there, not just those two. The 210 Hammond police officers we have, 155 firemen we have, all the city employees we have, doing all the road projects we have to do. I wouldn't be able to do that if I played games with the gaming money, if I wanted to make that gentleman happy. And I said, sir, I'll give $1 million to Boys and Girls Club. And he's like, dang, you're the best mayor ever. You gave $1 million to Boys and Girls Club. Then I go back to police and I'm like, hey, I got to lay off 10 of you. I gave $1 million to Boys and Girls Club. That's how it works. If I was doing that, I would be neglecting my job as mayor. And so he's pissed and he walks out, but that's part of the game. I have to do it, the right thing. So I apologize if I made anybody upset. Didn't mean to. Happens naturally. Councilman Higgs. Speaking of people that got upset with me, Councilman Higgs.
I don't have anything personally. We may not agree to disagree, but the reality of it is, even during the campaign, there were some issues that came up as it relates to my campaign. And public safety has always been the #1 priority in my tenure of being on the council. For one instance where the fire department came to me when they were negotiating their contract, and I was very supportive of them. So I don't know why that would even come up and why those accusations were even brought out. And I thought that was very offensive and very disrespectful and tacky. So that's how I feel. And I'm sorry if the miscommunication came about, but public safety is my #1 priority.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Councilman. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, Representative. No problem.
I just wanted to add, with respect to the Boys and Girls Club. I'm sorry. With respect to the Boys and Girls Club, they get their funding through Kids Indiana, and we beg the representatives on the other side to put money in for them, and they were polite enough to say no and could take it out. So for the next 2 years, they're going to suffer.
All right. Well, thank you, Representative. All right. Anybody else? Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'll try not to make anybody walk out on this one.
Mayor, the snow plows, garbage trucks, the recycle trucks, when they turn into the alley, they drive through the yard and cause damage. Is there anything that can be done?
Well, I've never driven one of those big trucks, but they're humongous. And these guys, we have 300 miles of alleys in our city. Okay? Is that 300 miles? That's wrong, right? Is it 300 miles alleys? Dean? Okay. All right, I'm running with it then. I'm running with it. Okay. All right, let's go with 300. There's 300 miles of alleys in our city, and, they have to go down every one of those alleys once a week, and they have to pick up our garbage and our recycling, and they pick up the stuff that we put back there, like couches and TVs and stuff like that. I just like to remind you that they're very, very busy. Gary, could you go in a little bit more? You got called on a lot today. I apologize. How's it going, Colleen? Nice to see you. Sorry.
The problem is, a lot of these, like right down here on Homan, you can barely get a pickup truck down those alleys, but they still go down. The garbage trucks, front-end loaders, recycling, everybody still uses them. Sometimes we do have to turn the route a little bit, come off state line where we can swing out a little. Then when we get up to the Homan Avenue alley that runs north and south, we're going to catch some corners.
And stuff happens sometimes too, right?
In the old days, they used to have single axle trucks. We don't have those anymore. Mm-hmm. Everybody has bigger trucks, 14-yard garbage trucks. So it happens. Sometimes we'll bump a fence or something like that, trying to get out of it, but we take care of it. But
right. So what happens when that happens? You want me? This might be
Chris. Fixed it.
I'm going to have Chris Cantor answer this one.
And sometimes it's not even us. It could be the recycling truck
which is a private company.
Right.
If it's recycling, it's Republic, which is not operated by
But we still go back. If we get noticed by it, we go back, we put dirt, grass seed. We're actually doing some hot patching this next week weather permitting, and we're gonna put some patch on some of those corners, 7200 Howard for sure.
Okay.
So we do, do what we can.
Okay. Chris, this might be the last question at Mayor's Night ever before you become Judge Chris. So what do we do when, let's say I park my car on the street and snowplow truck goes by and clips off my mirror, which happens every once in a while, right?
Oh, occasionally, yeah.
You get a lot of that?
Yes, we do. They come in and make a claim on a claim form.
So they come up to your office and,
Yeah, if they come up to the law department, or they could, if they want to call, we can email it to them, we can fax it to them, they can come up there. They just fill out a notice of claim form, our adjuster go out and take pictures, because believe it or not, sometimes people are a bit creative with what they claim happened. You know, the passenger side, which was towards the house, got hit by the snowplow, and
Right.
yeah, right. So we'll have the adjuster go out, take pictures, take a look at it, and if it's something we did, we hurry up and make a claim and put it on the council agenda, and it gets paid.
okay.
It takes about 30 days, just because there's a council cycle, and we have to have any claim in 10 days before the
Right.
council cut off. But within 30 days, we can usually.
Most of your claims are happening during the winter though, right? Because Gary can fix a lot of the stuff that happens this time of year.
I
But if
mean,
it's,
every once in a while, they'll hit a fence or something in the
Yeah.
summertime, but most of it is in the winter when they're plowing 14 hours
Right.
in one day. And
right. Good, thank you. All right, let's go. Next.
Next up, Mayor, I've seen golf carts, dirt bikes in my neighborhood. It is a residential area.
Yeah.
Are they allowed with or without plates? Please help keep our community safe.
Does this tell what part of the city this is from? I'm a cyclist. I think most of you know that. I talk about it all the time. It's one of my passions. I just rode 25 miles today, actually, right before Mayor's Night. But I see it, and I bet you Councilman Mark's going to back me up on this. In North Hammond on the bike trail, I see little dirt bikes all the time, and they tear it up over there. Like, they'll tear up all the grass. Councilman Mark, you still over there? You know what I'm talking about?
They come out in mass.
Yeah.
Like, you can
Just
see
just west of the
6 to
Mohawks,
12
right?
of them, right? And then they'll go across the street behind the loot station by Wolf Lake, and they'll tear up over there too. Four-wheelers, two-wheelers, all kind of bikes that aren't really allowed.
But like, at least when they're over by Wolf Lake, at least there's no grass. It doesn't
Right,
it's sort of an industrial area. They tore up the grassy strip just west of the Mohawks, and that was beautiful green grass, and they just tore it to shreds.
We've even had some cars out there on weekends, late night, tearing up too.
All right. Well, I got my police chief sitting right next to me, so how's it going, police chief? Yeah, right. Chief, could you grab that? I see motorized vehicles on the bike trail, and this person who asked this question also had a problem like that. Could you tell us what the rule is, what the law is on that?
Well, anything, it's changed in Indiana, anything non-motorized without a plate can't be on the street. Used to be 50 cc's, you didn't need a plate, now you do. So you have to have a plate to have it on the roadway, so that helps us do enforcement. You can't be on a linear parkway with a motorized vehicle because technically a bike trail is a park. It's part of the park system. That's why they call it a linear parkway. So generally, we get this call throughout the entire city, actually, everywhere. They're subject to it. Some places a little more rural, and they may get it a little more often. But as always, just give us a call, 311-APIS, however you want to do it. If it's going on right now, let us know. Just call dispatch, dial 911. We'll go out and we'll put a stop
So
to it.
you dial 911 for issues like that?
Yes.
You still dial 911 for everything, right?
Everything. Dial it for everything, and we'll go out and try to track them back to their houses. And if they're kids, we'll talk to their parents, but we'll try to put a stop to it as always.
Okay, thanks, Chief, I appreciate it. Hey, Kevin, could you talk a little bit about the Ring event? I know you and Phil worked with Ring on that, and we just had the event at the Hammond Civic Center. Could you talk a little bit about that whole program?
Sure, I'd be happy to, Mayor. For those of you that may not have heard about it, the city was one of the first in the Midwest actually to partner with Ring. Ring, some of you may know, they produce those video doorbells and all other home security type cameras that hook up to your Wi-Fi, and some are wired as well. But they were very pleased to come to the city Hammond. It was, like I mentioned, it was one of the first in the Midwest, and I believe the first in Indiana that had the event. And they came to the Civic Center. It was a very long line. I think the mayor was pleased. I know he taped it on Facebook Live. And we were able to give out about 300 coupons that night, and there was also some purchases of the products, $125 off of those products. And since that time, they extended that on the internet, and they made it available. We just got notified yesterday that they completely sold out of coupons, which is great. The city partnered, and I believe it put in about $30,000 towards that, which is awesome. And Ring also partnered and put in some money towards those coupons as well. The other exciting thing about that, and I see Sergeant Mickey here because I know she was at the event running that line as well, is that there is an app, whether you have Ring or you don't have Ring, if you have like a competitor like Arlo, if you don't have cameras, you can still sign up for the Ring app on your phone. And what that is it asks you where you live, and then it gives you updates if there is any sort of activity in your area that's been reported to the police, even suspicious activity. I just saw recently something that popped up out of Munster about a burglary, but there's also things like, this person came up to my door. Does anybody know who he is? It looks suspicious, and it ended up being like a Hammond detective.
He did look suspicious, though.
Well, maybe he was
see that?
undercover, but
our Hammond detectives need to do a better job identifying
he
themselves.
must have been undercover. But
Did you see that?
Yeah, he
I
did.
know, but he could be fake badge, I guess.
So the point is, Mayor, is that even if you don't have Ring at your house or a product, you can still take advantage of that app. And I think, maybe Sergeant Mickey might be able to help me here, there is a way to get the app to give the police department some credit of some sort. So I don't know if she has that information handy or not, but...
If you have a smartphone, and most of us do, what you do is you simply text 555-888, and then in the message part, you put Hammond PD, and then when you send that off, within seconds, you'll generally get a link from Ring. You push that link, and then you go ahead and sign up. The advantage to this is when we get credit, after so many, I don't know what the number is, they offer us free camera systems, and then we give those back to the community when you're involved in community meetings or different events through the police department throughout the city. So if you want that information after the meeting, I can take a few minutes and we'll hook up your phone and get you set for the night.
Thanks, Kelly.
The flyers with the directions are here on the information table as well.
Thanks, Donna. Appreciate it. Hey, Donna, talk about our festival lineup real quick. We got the fest coming up.
It's a great festival lineup, July 17th.
It's better than Lollapalooza. That's
Agreed.
Yeah.
I totally agree. It's not as long, but it's great. Wednesday night will be Nelly. Thursday night will be Three Doors Down. Friday night is Bad Company. Saturday is The Roots. And Sunday is Los Huracanes del Norte.
Thank you. It's really good. Good job.
Festivalofthelakes.com.
Yep. Thanks, Donna. Appreciate it. She had a lot of energy today. I want to thank Jen Bussey for the 2 cups of coffee. That was huge. I may not have made it through Mayor's Night, so. Okay, let's go.
Linda from the library just wanted a public service announcement made that the summer reading program starts June 1. You can sign up early online at hammondbeanstack.org. The information is here on the information table as well.
Awesome. That's it. Linda, do you have anything to add to that, or?
We're going to be in the parks on Fridays this year. Thanks so much to Mark Hines and the Parks Department. We're going to be in the parks this year. Thank you so much to Mark and the Parks Department. We will be at, I believe, it's Senior Day for Festival. Thank you so much for that. And look forward to seeing everybody. Summer reading is from June 1st to July 31st. Help prevent the summer slide when the kids are off. And it's for all ages. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Thank you to our new Vanna White. Thank you. Good job. He lost control of the mic, Donna. Did you see that?
Hey.
Gotta train him better.
I tried to school him.
Just kidding. Hey, I want to pass off to Mylon Krasinski real quick for a quick update on the Port Authority, and also we have a couple open spots, open positions. We're looking for employees. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. This weekend is a big weekend for us. The Chief of Staff, Phil Talon, Naked Beach opens.
Really?
It does.
Oh,
yeah.
my God. If we have one naked person.
It's going to be Phil.
Really? All right.
So yes, the Lakefront Beach does open this weekend.
That's great.
We're thrilled that the lifeguards are back.
Yeah.
We still have some openings in the lifeguard positions.
Seems like you're doing really well with the lifeguard crew.
We are, yes.
Yeah.
And thank you to Tommy. He's doing a great job for us.
And we stole
and Brock.
we stole one of the head lifeguards from Walhalla, and he's in Hammond now. He's a Hammond kid. Why is he over there in Whiting doing it, right?
Yeah.
So Brock Daniels.
Sure.
He's like
Offered him a couple
he's like
extra
the
bucks.
He's like the
So
head
it's all
lifeguard,
good.
the head commando. He's got like a little army of lifeguards that just follow him around. It's great.
It is good. Thank
It
you.
is great.
Yes. Yep.
We stole him from Whiting too, which is
Yeah, we
always
did.
nice.
It's
Yeah.
always good to have a little competition in there,
That's right.
Mayor
Yeah.
Joe? It's always
So
fun.
don't swim at Whiting this year. We got better lifeguards.
Yep. And if, really, if there's any kids out there that need a summer position, 16, 17, 16 is the youngest, but they're going to need work permits, we're still taking some applications.
Awesome.
So, yeah. It's
Great. I know Park Department. Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Got a lot of stuff going in the Park Department.
We do, but just want to announce, especially the one that's coming up right away tomorrow, we have our ribbon cutting to commemorate the improvements at Hessville Park.
Nice.
That's 1 o'clock tomorrow. So that's our second of our pool sites that we're cutting the ribbon on. The MLK Park will be later this year, and then Pulaski Park, hopefully something will be happening out there next year.
Right. We are moving forward with the plan at Pulaski Park, which is encouraging.
We're working with an architect on that to revisit the plan to make it within our cost dollar amounts that we have. The plan that we originally did, we didn't have a full funding for that, so we're trying to rein it in a little bit, get it to the point where we can get that thing opened up again by 2020's pool season.
Okay. Awesome. Anybody else have any announcements? All right. I think we got everything here. Next Mayor's Night Out is in the 5th District, which is where I live, August 7th at PNW Alumni Hall. That one was rescheduled. So 5th District, August 7th. So we're off for the summer on Mayor's Night Out, but you can still reach me very easily. I'm on every Friday morning on WJLB. What? Oh. What's it? Oh, hey. Oh, I forgot. Hi, Sharon.
Hello.
Sorry. This is Sharon Daniels. She wants to talk to you about College Bound real quick because we have some important deadlines coming up with College Bound that need to be discussed.
Just a reminder, the College Bound deadline for all students, new and returning, July 5th, hard and fast deadline. Don't be late.
Yeah, so thank you very much. What's the deadline again? July 5th. July 5th. It'll be a bad 4th of July if you forgot that. We've had kids do that and they missed out on their funding. So make sure your kids are super happy, but make sure they get their information in after they graduate. So, all right. So like I said, next Mayor's Night Out, 5th District, August 7th at PNW Alumni Hall. We take open phone calls every Friday morning on WJLB. If you need to reach me, my office is always available, 853-6302, and I can be your quarterback. Like I'm going to help this gentleman with his issue. Thank you all very much for showing up. Oh, yes, yeah.
Really quick, Downtown Hammond Council, June 15th, 11 to 7. Eat, shop, a rock, come downtown Hammond.
Thank you.
Eat some food, drink,
Awesome.
and shop.
All right. Thank you guys very much for showing up to Mayor's Night Out. See you guys soon. Thank you.